Good afternoon YouTube and anyone else watching this video. Thank you for tuning in to another Coolice charge case and power supplies update or video. I hope you are all staying safe and well. While the world appears to be returning to some form of normality, we are obviously all still in this together and trying to stay safe and obviously enjoy life at the same time. So please stay safe in any activities you do, and thank you for watching. I have another case here I'd like to show you. In fact, this one was derived, if you like, from the Coolice charge case's quad ISDT Q8 case that I built and obviously uploaded the video for recently, which I've noticed has garnered a lot of views within 2 weeks. So this case is I've actually had this case built for 2 months and been meaning to make a video, and obviously decided to do so today. Basically, this one is for myself. I liked the idea of the small form factor case that was obviously capable of high power charging and so on and so forth. The little ISDT Q8 was a very nice charger. It's very keenly priced. So originally, and I've still got the design for that, although I haven't completed it yet, I was looking at making a quad case for myself, unlike Dimitri's one, which you may have already watched. I did go just a fraction bigger on the case, but not much. We're literally only talking an extra centimetre or two overall, but when it comes to squeezing this amount of power into the case, that extra centimetre and what have you all makes a difference. So this obviously makes not only my job a little bit easier of trying to find places to stick wires and everything else, but obviously the internal temperature of the case as well will become less of an issue because there's a little bit more airspace in there, and I can do a little bit more with regards to cooling fans. So again, I'm sparing you guys the view of the old man chatting away behind the camera here, and obviously just concentrating on the case. So before I waffle on any further and bore you to tears, let's open it so you can see what we're on about. I haven't done my laser etched little logo there yet, but it's there for ready. And here we go. Nothing too fancy. I haven't really done anything in the lid yet on this case. I think I am going to produce some form of small lid tidy of some description. Obviously the eagle-eyed among you will have obviously seen that I have been using this case to charge my little OMP M2 packs up in between flights, and obviously other little models as well. So I've got obviously a little balance board and obviously a little balance lead here, which are obviously I left just lying in the case so I could quickly grab them. But anyway, back to the case. We have obviously my typical 10mm polypropylene deck, which obviously creates a nice solid platform for which I can then obviously mount the chargers to it. And again, I'm using my tried and true 3D printed charger holders. So obviously I've got the air inlet slot here. This side is also open, so air can go straight through into the bottom of the case if need be, and also the charger will obviously help a little bit with airflow. So obviously the charger's air inlet is at this end, so as it wants to suck air in, it'll pull cooling air in through the charger, and then obviously out the back, and obviously I've created a duct shape, so there isn't any real sharp edges in there. So as the charger sucks air in and obviously tries to expel the warmed air when it's in use, it obviously doesn't hit a brick wall. It then obviously hits a curved surface and is essentially coaxed out the way it needs to go, which is out and into the atmosphere to obviously keep the charge cool. Teamed up with that then, obviously I've brought out the connection points for the charger, and obviously then I've used a custom 3D printed holder for that, and I've used an 8S balance port extension, and also I've trimmed the adapter for that, so that will allow me to plug in 2 to 8S LiPo easily. And of course then I've left, where's my finger, this side in place. So this is obviously the negative. I could denote that with a legend of some description, but it's, once you get used to it, it's quite handy. And then obviously then you've got the 2 main charge ports, positive and negative, which are easily identified with the coloured 4mm jack plug points. So we've also got the 2 chargers, and it's mirrored. So obviously I've got the 2 Q8s there, one on one side, one on the other. They are both powered by one of my obviously server power supplies, which is obviously mounted directly in the bottom with my 3D printed brackets and obviously my edge connector boards. And in this case, I think from memory, I went with a 1500 watt setup. So it's 1500 watts, 25 volts, and 62 amps off the top of my head. So means these chargers are capable of, I think it's 20 amps each, isn't it? Yeah, 500 watts, 20 amps. There's a decent overhead there with the power supplies then, so they're not going to be overrun. In the middle then, again, to try and avoid the whole idea of, or my ethos with these kind of cases is, I have my more intricate, more blingy, and conversely more expensive, larger charge cases. They obviously take longer to build because obviously there's more involved with them, hence the cost goes up. The idea with something like this case is, yes, you still have to pay for it, admittedly. You know, I still make money from this. This is my business. But the idea from my perspective was to create a case that is easier for me to build, less parts, and obviously conversely time, so that then I can produce a good quality product at a nice competitive price for people then to obviously then more easily justify a charge case to cover their ISDT purchases. And I think I've got that with this case. Obviously, if you'd like to know prices, please obviously get in contact with me. So in the middle then, obviously I put the IEC AC connector socket here. Again, if I'm not having to sit around cutting holes in the side of the case, I will avoid that, because obviously that's additional time, as well as with this sort of layout, while the deck is being machined for the main slots and apertures anyway, it doesn't take any real longer then for the machine to cut out an opening for the AC socket. So if I mount it here, then I haven't got to bother adding on more time to cut it into the case. The twin USB charge port again is mounted here, which is the usual one, 5 volt 1 amp, 5 volt 2.1 amps, and that sits quite nicely there. Just about got that in, to be honest with you. The height of the case, there isn't much room to play with there, so from memory I think the connectors on the back, I did have to bend them outwards slightly so that then the crimp, I could have soldered it, but I do quite like the use of crimp connectors, just in case that needs to be replaced by me or the customer in time. You literally just unplug the leads, unscrew the little plastic nut on the back of this, slide it out, pop another one in place, then connect the crimp connectors on. Again, a lot of my all of my case builds, actually, really, they all allow for the user to repair it if need be. My customers have the option, they can obviously either send the case back to me and I would carry out any repairs and any maintenance on the case, or if they're out of the field, specifically with the power supplies and obviously the connector boards, the idea behind it is then you can literally just unplug it, slide off the power connector off the front end, remove the power supply, bolt another one in its place, plug the AC plug back in at one end, slide the DC connector back on the other side, and away you go again. No soldering, no messing, just quick, simple, and everything else. And the whole idea of all this and the way I design my cases covers the same sort of thing. So put the dust cover back in, there we go, that one actually fits quite nice. Below that you'll see a 3D printed grille. I've gone to this idea, which is quite nice. You've probably seen it in a couple of other case videos. It puts it flush with the deck, looks quite nice and simple, blends in nice, being with the black filament. I've got one single radial fan, which is actually bolted to the underside here, hence why you see there's a break with the cooling slots here. Otherwise I would have had two more cooling slots, because the radial fan is here, mounted flat to the underside of the deck. And I think from memory that's a 9730 off the top of my head, so it moves quite a lot of air. Failing that, it's a 7530. Actually, I think it might be a 7530. So that's bolted that way, and obviously then that's sucking air in from underneath. It then goes back, and obviously behind here then I've again a 3D printed duct that basically then is obviously curved. So as the fan obviously expels its air, it hits the curve and obviously then comes up through this grille and obviously comes out. These fans aren't exactly quiet. They're a little bit noisier perhaps than what you would like, but they're not too obtrusive, which is good. The main beauty about them though is they shift a lot of air. And obviously in a case this small with not a lot of airspace within it, you certainly don't want any heat building up in there. You want to get any warmed air pulled out of the case quickly. So in all my case builds, I always have the cooling fans pulling air out. I'd rather have them pulling air out than trying to force air in and creating a vacuum within it. You don't need to do that. You need to pull air out. If the air inside the case is being warmed up, you want to get it out of there pretty quickly. So I'd rather expel than inhale in that case. Obviously, we've got the cooling slots here. I've gone with 2. I felt that was a good compromise here. I would have liked perhaps the other 2 here, but I couldn't with the way the fan is. And then obviously other than that, really, there's not much more to describe on the deck. The case itself, it's quite small. This is actually a Max 300, and it was a limited edition blue colour that they saw. I'm quite partial to blue. My car is blue. I had an orange car before, so I brought an orange case to build a charge case for myself around, and that orange case is still stuck in the loft space above my office here. And then of course then I changed the car from an orange to a blue, so I brought a little blue case, and I quite like the colour. It's quite pretty. It's nice and portable. I haven't weighed it, admittedly. I don't know, I'm guessing you're probably looking maybe 5 kilograms, or give or take a little bit either side of that perhaps. I'll have to weigh it maybe. I know the power supplies normally, when I send them out as standalone units, they give or take around 3 kilograms. So yeah, potentially looking anywhere between 4 and 5 kilograms, I would say. So it's quite nice and portable. Obviously then you can plug your leads in. This is where comes back to what I mentioned perhaps at the beginning of the video. It'd be quite nice to do something simple in the lid, just to basically hold securely some of the basic leads I may use. And again, I could perhaps use something with Velcro there or whatever, because obviously space is limited. I haven't got very much depth in the lid, but it'll be quite nice to do something there. Otherwise, let me plug it in, turn it around the other way, flick the AC plug on. It should all come into life, and there we go. And you can just about hear you can probably hear the cooling fan running. If I can move close to it, of course you'll hear it. Quite a nice breeze coming out of there, which is good. Obviously the chargers, as you've probably seen from the reviews, they work well. The interface looks quite nice. It's easy and simple to use. I must admit, I do quite like the look of ISDT. Have released a twin version of this, I think, from memory. Can't remember what it's called. It's an ISDT Q8 Plus or something or other, and it's got Bluetooth in it, so it will obviously, you can pair it to your phone, I think, or tablet, and then obviously control it via your phone and tablet, as well as monitor. And that's for someone like me who's into their gadgets, that's piqued my interest. So that may be the next little project to do, to have a play with that one. But I like the look of this case at the moment. It's very functional. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. Makes a nice little addition. I can turn it off, pull my lead out, close it up, as you do, and then you've got nice, and then obviously yeah, you can see the bolts. I've got the power supplies bolted down. I've got 3 3D printed brackets there, and I had to slim them down actually a fair bit. I use a similar sort of setup in my larger cases, but they're individual brackets, and I have 2 per charger. But due to the extra space in the larger cases, I can make said brackets just that little bit beefier, so they're stronger. This one, because I had to slim it down to fit within the case, instead of having 2, I put a 3rd one in, hence why there's another 3rd rail in there. Better to be safe than sorry. You certainly don't want those quite heavy power supplies plopping about within the case. So that one's done. Thank you for watching that. But I tell you what, before you go, I'm going to pan round, and I got it ready, and I'm going to give you a quick teaser of the next charge case video that is going to appear, because I've just finished this case. There was some, not issues with it, there was some gotchas with it, would probably be a good word to use, and that was all to do with space between the lid build and the main deck build. I knew there was going to be a space issue. I didn't allow for it, so I had to get quite creative and clever with what I did with it, and I've achieved it now. And this one will be going to its new home, possibly the next weekend. The little latch in the storage door has decided the mechanism doesn't want to play ball, so I've had to order some new ones. But anyway, let me pan round. Please excuse the washing on the floor. I've got to put that in the tumble dryer. And here we go. Just a quick view. Orange case. This one's going to suit. It's going to have a 406 duo, I think, in this one. Or 308. I think it's a 308. So we've got an iCharger 308. My excellent ice meter. I'm doing the Legend for that. So with the little acrylic plate. The connections on the deck. And then obviously the lid build, as you can see. And this one obviously you can hear the catch. Doesn't quite, there you go. Doesn't quite let it go. It should spring straight out, and it doesn't. It's got that little clicky to it. There's literally basic storage space behind it. Nothing fancy with the storage on this one, but we made it a little bit better with the logo. But that's a quick one for now. I'm going to go through that one again in the next couple of days and post that video. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, and for all your charging needs, Coolice Charge Cases is your man. Give me a shout. Bye bye.